guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope y'all are doing well. We recently took a little trip to one of our local antique malls in the area. We hadn't been in a while. We thought we would stop in and see what new things we could find, new treasures. And I found a few things and I thought I would share with you today. I was getting ready to share with them. Now, sharing with you today, one of the things I picked up was this lace tablecloth that I found for our breakfast table. I really thought it was beautiful. It's kind of hard to lay it out, but when I saw it in the store, Dan and I kind of held it up and we were like, that would definitely fit on the table, and it is beautiful and I absolutely love it. And like I said, it's kind of hard for me to, really show y'all. But it is absolutely just, I don't know if I can kind of hold it out like that. I really don't know if y'all can see. It's kind of hard to show, what tablecloths look like. But this one is absolutely beautiful. And I think it's going to look really pretty on the everyday table. Now, guys, when we eat, I don't necessarily leave these on top. They're more for when we're not using the table to just have a nice presentation on the table. But usually when we eat, I take this off, or any of my lacy tablecloths or doilies or anything like that. And then when we're done eating, I put them back on. So I got this, like I said, we found a lot of thrift pricing. I got this for $14. I couldn't pass that up. I think when it comes to those types of items, for me, it's kind of a hit and miss. I'll go to one antique store and I'll find a tablecloth similar to that for like $54. And I sometimes are like, oh, it's beautiful, but don't want to spend the $54, especially if I know I can kind of possibly find something just as beautiful, maybe for a little less. And then I come across something like that for $14. So that was a good buy. The next thing I got, they always wrap it up like this. And if this is what I think it is, then I got two of them. And they wrapped them up individually. Yep. Give me 1 second, because I think this is the other one. Yes. Okay. So I collect, or I shouldn't say I collect, but I really like finding candle holders. If you see a lot of my home tour videos, then you know that I have a lot of the candlestick LED candles, because I can just flick those on with the remote and create that candlestick ambiance without having to light a real candle. So I'm always looking for candle holders, and then Dan makes candle holders for me with wood and then stains them as well. I loved these right here because they made me think of the Victorian era, and I've already talked about how I love the Renaissance era, the Georgina era, and then the sub-period, which was the Regency era, the Victorian, the Roaring 20s, anything really before 1940. I really love, and these made me think of Victorian. So I picked these up and I thought they were just really pretty. And I can put these out with some of my LED candlesticks. There they are right there. So I thought these were really nice, and I got these two. Those were a great price. I think they were, do I have my receipt? No, I do not. I think they were 2 for $12. So, and they were sold as a set. So I had to get it as a set. Sometimes you can get the candlesticks sold separately, but sometimes they'll have the booth owner will have a little tag on the price, and it will say as a set or sold as a set. The next thing I got, oh yes, is my red teacup and saucer. Now this is a pattern that I collect, Mason's Vista, made in England. And I slowly have collected these pieces. I think in one of my shopping hauls, I talked about how Dan found the platter and picked that up for me. That is from this pattern right here. And I have 2 dinner dishes, and then I have the platter, and I was able to find beautiful teacup sets. It's right there. There's the bottom. Just has the vendor's code on there. But right there, and I thought that was really pretty, and I love the inside. And yes, I use my teacups sometimes to drink tea, and I also use my blue teapot that y'all saw in another haul. I started using that, and I love it. The next thing I got, so little golden books. I've talked about how I collect these. Hope to be reading them to my grandchildren someday. But I also put them out on display depending on the season. And I wish I would have found this at Easter because it was something I was looking for, but I found it after Easter. But it's the Fuzzy Duckling right here. I do remember this story, the Fuzzy Duckling. So I picked this up, happened to come across that. And I think one of you had mentioned that you too love collecting the little golden books. Let me know if you collect them. I know one of you do. You shared that with me. The other thing I picked up, let's see which plate this is. Yes, the old British castle. All right here. Guys, I collect this plate. I've talked about this plate before. This one, okay, here's the thing with this plate. And I brought one up because I knew it was different. Remember, I gotta move the teacup. I'll put it right here. So this pattern came out in 1930. But I had talked to y'all about how I keep finding this plate and they want $25 for it. But then I come across some that are, as low as $5, and then they'll pop up for $25, and occasionally I'll catch them for like this one, $9.99, and I grab them. And I don't know why, or I didn't know why, there was such a fluctuation in price when it comes to these plates. And I understand some people with booths, they're looking to make a profit. I completely understand that. But there's something about the stamping on the back. And I'm like, why is that plate $5.99, but this one's $9.99? Why are they asking $25? I discovered that the $25 plates, when I see this pattern at some antique stores, when I flip it over, they have the pink stamp backing. So apparently this backing with this particular stamp, for whatever reason, sells more, and this one I grabbed from my china cabinet, sells more than this stamp. Same plates, but 2 different stamp backs. This one is Old Britain, so it says Johnson Brothers, England, 1883, Old Britain Castle, earthware, dishware, freezer, and microwave safe. So this is from Johnson Brothers, but it's known as earthenware. Earthenware. Whereas this one says Johnson Brothers, England, Old Britain Castle, all decorations under the glaze. And it goes on to talk about resistance color, a genuine hand and craft, engraved, So there is a difference between this plate when it was made versus this plate. This one is microwave safe. I still wouldn't put it in the microwave, but I'm thinking this one is not, and I'm not going to put it in the microwave to find out because it doesn't say it's microwave safe. And you can also just tell the difference on the plates. The one that's microwave safe has a little more weight to it as opposed to this one. So I'm thinking, don't quote, like don't quote me on this being fact. I'm thinking this plate with this stamp was made before this one came out. So this one's an older plate. If you know anything about the Johnson Brothers England Old Britain Castle, let me know. I keep trying to research and Google search, and I cannot find where they're talking about these plates in the stamping. I'm just going by the fact that every time I see this stamp on the back, it costs more. So the day that we went antique shopping, I found a booth that had the red stamping, and again, $25 a plate. But then I found another booth that had this stamping, okay? And they were asking $9.99 for it. And I can find it for $9.99. But they also had plates like this one with the green backing, and they were only asking $5.99. I just picked up one on this particular shopping haul visit, so I picked up this one. But I'm discovering that it has to do, the price, and I'm finding out has to do with that stamp background. So I'm thinking it must be when it all went into production on which plate, is older. So the last thing I found, and I have actually seen this in other vintage hauls, and I'm like, eventually I'll find that pie plate. I've seen other people who do vintage hauls with this pie plate, and I'm like, oh, I would love to find it, especially with the 4th of July. I was like, oh, I need to try to look for this. And I don't know if you're seeing this video before the 4th or after the 4th, but the time of buying this plate was before the 4th. Right here, you might, if you watch vintage hauls and thrift shopping, then you might have already seen something like this. Ta-da! This pie plate right here, Country Harvest. And then there's the back. I have been looking for something like this, and it's so funny because when we found this, actually it was Dan, they were on a shelf, and he's like, honey, weren't you looking for like a pie plate like this that you were describing? And I was like, yeah. So they have an apple pie one, and then they had a cherry one, and then they had another one. I don't want to say it was blueberry. I can't remember what it was, but they had this one and the cherry one. And I didn't pick up the cherry one because I don't bake tons of cherry pies, but I definitely bake apple pies all the time. So I picked this one up. It also gives a recipe on here. I don't know if I will follow the recipe because I have my own apple pie recipe, but yeah, pick that up right there. And that is all that I picked. Oh, wait. I got something else here. I have this off to the side. So I found the Beanie Baby TY, and I found Lammy. And I wanted Lammy for Easter, but I couldn't find him. And then when we were at this particular antique store behind the glass case, I got them to unlock it because I wanted to see how much he was. I felt like he was affordable. So I picked up Lammy. If you watched my 4th of July house tour, you would have saw that I had TY and I had Spangle with sitting on the shelf. So I have little TY Beanie Babies that I will put out depending on the season and the theme, and I'll kind of display them. But I think Lammy will be really cute at the Easter time. And in case you're wondering what this is, it's just letting you know that it was sanitized, it's been cleaned, and it just said certification is made by the seller that the materials are described in accordance with Ohio law. And then it shows the date in which it was sanitized on. So that was just a little something they have to put on their stuffed animals. They're supposed to in antique stores or any vintage store, even, thrift stores. They should be putting these little tags on stuffed animals and letting you know that it's, it's been a certified, cleaned item, and then the date, in case you didn't know that. But yeah, and when I see stuff like this, if I don't see this little tag, I don't pick it up. when I pick up little TY Beanie, you know, babies. But yeah, I didn't know if anyone else knew that out there. So guys, thank you so much for stopping by today and hanging out with me. And hopefully you saw something that you liked. Share with me. If you know something about those British Castle Johnson Brothers plates that I don't know, please let me know. I try to learn all this stuff when it comes to antique buying and trying to understand why something might cost the way it does. Sometimes I come across things and I don't even know that I like hit the jackpot. I've had that happen before in a couple of items, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was worth something, but it is. Anyway, guys, again, thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great week. So till next time, have a magical day, that magical week, and I will see y'all later. Bye, guys. Y'all take care.